Hello, and as you already know, my name is Andre Theodore, and today we are going to install and configure the Windows Deployment Services rule. So what is Windows Deployment Services, or WDS? It is being able to install software on different computers on your network from your server. You do not have to go from PC to PC or from room to room that might be on another floor of a building, and you do not need multiple optical discs of the software you want to install. All you need is an image of that software, and from your server you can install the image on any computer you wish. This is the advantage of Windows Deployment Services. You do not require an optical drive on your client machine. It supports network booting. What are the requirements for WDS? It requires a domain controller, an Active Directory to control the computers on your network, the HCP to give IP addresses to those computers. It also needs DNS to translate the computer names to IP addresses. Windows Deployment Services also requires your images to be of the NTFS standards, that's New Technology File System. You must also be a member of the local administrator group, that's the administrator of the network or domain. You also need a network card that supports PXE. PXE is a technology that allows your computer to boot off the network. Hello, and as you already know, my name is Andre Theodore, and today we are going to install and configure the Windows Deployment Services rule. So what is Windows Deployment Services, or WDS? It is being able to install software on different computers on your network from your server. You do not have to go from PC to PC or from room to room that might be on another floor of a building, and you do not need multiple optical discs of the software you want to install. All you need is an image of that software, and from your server you can install the image on any computer you wish. This is the advantage of Windows Deployment Services. You do not require an optical drive on your client machine. It supports network booting. What are the requirements for WDS? It requires a domain controller, an Active Directory to control the computers on your network, the HCP to give IP addresses to those computers. It also needs DNS to translate the computer names to IP addresses. Windows Deployment Services also requires your images to be of the NTFS standards, that's New Technology File System. You must also be a member of the local administrator group, that's the administrator of the network or domain. You also need a network card that supports PXE. PXE is a technology that allows your computer to boot off the network. So here I am on my Windows 2008 server, where I'm going to install Windows Deployment Services. So I'm going to go to the Server Manager, and here I am going to right click on Roles, and I am going to add a role, and then I'll come down to Server Rules, and as you can see, all the grayed out rules here is rules that I've already installed. So I'm going to come right down to Windows Deployment Services. I'm going to go next, and as you can see in the requirements, things to note, we already went through some of these: Active Directory, Domain Services, DHCP and DNS services. And if you look a little lower down here, as we discussed earlier as well, computers must be PXE enabled to be able to boot off of the network. So I'm just going to go next. So here we have the deployment server and the transport server. The deployment server is where you customize and store your images, and the transport server is if you want to do multiple images. You can install multiple images at the same time. If you uncheck this, then you would need to have another machine here, another server that will do the transporting for you, and that would ease the load off of this server. But for this tutorial, we are going to leave both checked. Then we go next. So now it says this server might need to be restarted after the installation completes, and we're going to go ahead and click on install. Let the installer run, and there it goes. According to the power of your server is the amount of time this will take, but just for this tutorial we will speed this up a bit. Now our installation has succeeded and the following rules were installed. So I'm going to close this, and I'm going to close the server manager, and I'm going to go to start, administrative tools, and I'm going to come down to Windows deployment services, and we are going to configure Windows deployment services now. As you can see, we are opening this for the first time. So now we are going to right click on the server, configure server, and as you can see, Windows is reminding you of the requirements that we went through earlier. Then go next. So this is the folder path where the images are going to be stored. You can create your own folder and share it for the entire network, but for this tutorial we will just stay with the default. So next, and here it's telling us the volume selected is also the Windows system volume. It's just recommending that you keep your installations on a different volume than the main system volume. Then click yes to continue, and so here we specify if this server is also our DHCP server, and if it is, you have to check both boxes, and then I'll go ahead and continue. So now we have three options. Do not respond to any client computer, respond only to known client computers. You want to check this one, respond to all known and unknown client computers, and check this box for anybody who tries to reinstall an operating system or image a computer. You will be notified about it, and you can allow it or deny it. And then we're going to click finish, and our Windows deployment services is being configured and finalizing the installation. So now it's asking us to browse to the path where our installed file is. So go to computer, and on your Windows DVD that's on your server, click on the DVD and go to sources, look for and select the sources folder. As the sources folder has the boot and install images, so I'm going to click on it, and I'm going to click OK, and click next. And here you can create a new group image. This is good because the accounting department can have their own group, front desk department, you can create your own group name for them. It's according to how big your business environment is. I'll leave this at default, image group 1, and then go ahead and click next. And here it's just asking you to confirm the information, folder I created earlier. And again, according to the power of your server, that's how fast this will go. So I'll just speed this up for you, just for this tutorial. Now the operation is complete. The image or images were successfully added to the server. So finish. And now I am going to show you how to install the images or image manually. So you see the install image folder here. You can double click on it in here, and here you see the previous image group we just created. You can right click on the folder here. You can right click anywhere in here, and you see the same option, install image, and you can use the existing group or create a new image group. Please let me remind you, this is the exact same process we did just a minute ago. And you could always create a new image group. I'll leave that as default name, image group 2. And click next. And we are going to browse for the file location. It contains the image. And again, this is at the sources folder of your Windows DVD or CD that's in your D drive of your server. And you are going to browse to the sources folder, and the only difference is between what we did a while ago and now is that we're going to go directly into the sources folder and select the install image file here, install.wim. Go ahead and click open, and here you see the complete path, and you go ahead and click next. And here you see it's Windows 7 Ultimate in the description that we are going to create an image of. And then here you click next, and the procedure will start. But for the sake of this tutorial, because we've done it already, I won't go through this again. So I'll just cancel this. And then after you have done that, you can do this same input images. If for some reason you see your image group here and you come to boot images and you don't see any boot image here, what you can do, you can right click, add boot image, and browse for the file location of that boot image. And well, it has opened up first because we just browsed there, but it would have been the same thing. Go to computer on your server. You can right click on the D drive and open and browse to the sources folder and select the boot.wim file this time, not the install but the boot, because at this time it's the boot image of the file we are looking for. So you select that and go ahead and click open. You see the complete path here, and you can, one is the image name, one is the description, and yes, you can leave this as is, or you can add something to this description here to distinguish. And you can go and click next, and it shows you the information to confirm here, and you're going to click next, and creating the boot image will start. And again, this is what we had just done, and just for this tutorial I'm not going to do it again because we already have it here. Alright, so we've learned how to use this automatically and manually. So now let's try on our own to actually install and deploy this image from the server to a machine on our network. So now what we are going to do, we are going to our VirtualBox settings here on our Windows 7 PC that we created earlier, and go to its settings on the settings button here, and go to system, and we are going to check the boot order, making sure that the network card here is selected as the first boot device, and which it already is. How we know this is because it's at the top of the list here of these 3 devices. You can either boot from hard disk, CD, or floppy, or network. In this case, network. So to select a boot device to be first, all you have to do is make sure it's checked, highlight it, and use the arrows here on the side to go up or down, first, second, third boot device. In this case, we leave the network as the first boot device. Let me just check storage here, and that's it. And then we, after we do that, click OK, and we can start up our virtual machine now. Here it says press F12, and I will let this freeze here at the moment. As you can see, it has downloaded the Windows deployment server settings here, and it started contacting the DHCP server 10.0.2.15. Yes, that's our server and our domain controller where Active Directory and deployment services is installed. And here you can see it's pulling the file name as well, and as well as the file path where the image is located on the server, because the server is given this client machine here authorization on the domain or through the domain to install this software. So with the beauty of VirtualBox, let's reset our machine, our client machine, and here I pressed F12 a bit early, so we could select any boot device we wish. As you saw earlier, we didn't need to do this because we already selected the network card as the first boot device, but in this case we select L for LAN, and we just press F12 a couple of times here, and as you can see, Windows is loading files, and here you can see the IP address of the server along with the boot image path, exactly where the boot file is. And this is what I showed you earlier as well on the boot screen, and this is showing that we have been successful in configuring and setting up Windows deployment services. So now we can go out there and deploy software from a server to any client computer. This has just finished. I'll just take you through a couple more steps of the installation. Here's another familiar screen, the Microsoft Windows loading screen, and we're going to go straight to the setup start screen as well. And here it is. It's booting and loading as normally as you would install a version of Windows from a CD, DVD, or flash drive. And leave the language as default, keyboard as US, as you would. And here it needs the administrator approval. So for administrator's approval, in this case, you will type the name of the domain that you're on, which is ironstorm/ad administrator, because the administrator have to authorize this deployment. And there you go, the installation here will continue as you would, and here's the part for me to format my hard drive and to finish installing Windows. And there you go, and that's it for Windows deployment services. Enjoy.